I wasn't supposed to hear what I heard that day. But life doesn't ask you for permission when it decides to tear your heart out. It was a cold Tuesday afternoon. I had just finished a doctor's appointment in town, and on a whim, I thought I'd swing by my parents' house. No heads up. No warning. I parked outside, heart calm, unaware that within the next 10 minutes, my entire world would detonate. I walked through the side gate, as I'd done 100 times before, and quietly entered the house through the back door. I didn't call out. I was planning to surprise them. But I was the one who got surprised. Voices drifted from the kitchen. My mother's voice. Then another. Familiar. My wife's. "Dear," my mom said, "my son is so overweight, and I understand how that can be difficult for you as a woman." I froze. "Have you tried the guy I set you up with?" she continued, like she was talking about a damn yoga instructor. "He's the perfect lover and good for a woman's health." I couldn't breathe. "Yes, Mom, it was amazing," my wife said. Her voice. Her tone. Giddy. Shameless. Proud. And just like that, I stopped being a husband. You ever feel your heart slow down while your mind speeds up? Like your body knows it's about to break, but your brain wants to record every second of the crash? That was me. I stood there paralyzed, every cell screaming. My mother. The woman who gave birth to me. Setting up my wife with another man because I wasn't good enough. And my wife? Smiling through it. As if I was just some obstacle in her life she had to work around. I didn't walk into that kitchen. I didn't make a sound. I turned around like a damn ghost, slipped back out the door, and got into my truck. My hand shook so hard on the steering wheel, I thought I was going to crash before I made it out of the neighborhood. But I didn't. I drove. For hours. Didn't answer calls. Didn't text back. I disappeared. From that moment on, I became someone else. I ghosted everyone, my parents, my wife, even mutual friends. Moved states. Changed my number. No divorce, no arguments, just complete and utter vanishing. It was easier than staying and watching the two women I loved most act like I was disposable trash. That betrayal? It doesn't stab you once. It strangles you slowly, over months, years. It echoes in your bones. I thought I'd buried it. Buried her. But 5 years later, on a rainy October morning, I opened my front door, and there she was. Brittany. My wife. Her hair was gone, completely shaved. No makeup. Just standing there in a long, soaked coat like some ghost out of a nightmare I'd locked away. "I need to talk to you," she said, voice trembling. I didn't say anything. I didn't invite her in. I just stood there, looking at her. At the shell of the woman who once shared my bed, my name, my future. She looked broken. "I was stupid," she whispered. "But I have to tell you something. I don't care if you slam the door. Just let me speak." I let her. And what she said next would twist everything even worse. I stepped aside. Not because I forgave her. Not because I was curious. But because after 5 years of silence, I wanted to look into her eyes and see if the guilt ever reached her soul. She walked in slowly, like the house might bite her. Same house we were supposed to grow old in, the one she helped me pick out before everything rotted. She stood in the middle of the living room, dripping rainwater onto the floor, still in that damn trench coat. "Nice haircut," I muttered, my voice dry as sandpaper. She gave a small, humorless laugh. I shaved it off myself. "I've been going through things." I didn't respond. I didn't ask what. I sat down on the armrest of the couch, arms crossed, heart armored. "I'm not here to make excuses," she started, avoiding my eyes. "I know I was a monster. I know what I did to you, what we did to you, was unforgivable." I raised an eyebrow. "We." She looked down. "Your mom and I." I stood up. "You mean my mother, the one who carried me 9 months, raised me, taught me to be loyal, that woman encouraged you to cheat on me?" Brittany nodded. "It wasn't just encouragement. It was planned. She set it up. Told me you were letting yourself go. That you weren't satisfying me. That I deserved better." I felt heat crawl up my neck. I could hear blood thudding in my ears. "And you believed her?" "I wanted to believe her," she snapped, finally looking up. "Because it was easier than facing the truth. That I was bored. That I wanted something new. That I was selfish." Her voice cracked. For a moment, I thought she might actually cry. But then she straightened. "I did it. I met him. A guy she knew from some country club. His name was Travis. He was charming, fit, experienced. I let him take me to a hotel while you were working overtime to pay for our damn kitchen remodel." She spat it out like a confession, and each word sliced deeper. "He touched me like I was some forbidden fruit," she continued, "and I liked it. I let it happen more than once. And each time, I told myself you'd never find out. Because you were just too nice. I wanted to scream, punch a wall, collapse. But I stayed still, listening, letting her bury herself with every word. Then she said the part that finally broke me. Your mom would call me the next morning, ask for the details, and laugh like we were gossiping about nail salons. She said, men like my son never keep women happy. That's why I never stayed with his father. That was it. That final snap in my chest. My world wasn't just broken. It had been built on lies. You didn't just cheat on me, I said slowly. You humiliated me with the one person I thought would never turn on me. You turned my own mother into your damn wingman. She flinched, but didn't deny it. I walked toward the door and opened it. You said you came here to tell me something. You told me. Now leave. She hesitated. Please. There's more. I need you to know what happened after. I don't care. Her lips trembled, and for the first time in this entire mess, I saw something real flicker in her eyes. Regret? Guilt? Too late. Goodbye, Brittany. She stood on the porch as the rain fell heavier. She didn't move. I closed the door in her face. But her ghost stayed behind. I stood there for a while, my hand still gripping the doorknob after I'd slammed it shut. My breathing was shallow, my chest rising and falling like I'd just run a damn marathon. The silence inside the house was louder than her confession. It echoed with the ghost of every laugh, every kiss, every plan we ever made. I should have felt victorious, I guess, finally having the power to shut that door. But instead, I felt hollow. Like the ground had been ripped out from under me, and I was falling through memory after memory with nothing to grab onto. I walked to the sink, poured myself a glass of water, and stared out the kitchen window. Rain pelted the glass like 1,000 little fists. For a second, I could see her standing there on the porch through the curtain, motionless, soaked, and small. And despite everything, a part of me still wanted to run out and give her a towel. That part disgusted me. This woman didn't just betray me, she conspired with my own mother to rip out my spine and laugh while doing it. And the worst part? She had the audacity to come back like I owed her a damn conversation. Like I just let her step back into my life, wet coat and all, as if nothing had happened. But it wasn't over. The next morning, I found an envelope slipped under my front door. No name on it. No return address. Inside was a photo, a single, wrinkled picture of my wife and Travis standing beside each other on a boat. She was in a bikini I'd never seen before, her head on his shoulder, his hand resting on her lower back like she was his prize. And then I noticed it, the date in the corner. Taken 3 weeks after I disappeared. Attached was a sticky note. Don't believe everything she says. He wasn't the only one. My blood turned ice. I stared at the note, turning it over, as if some explanation would be scribbled on the back. But it was blank. Just that one sentence, vague, threatening, true. I had questions now. Who sent this? Was it Travis? Was it my mother? Someone else who knew about what they did? One betrayal was bad enough. But the idea that she'd lied even more than she confessed, that there were other men, other lies, reopened wounds I hadn't even let scab over. I spent the rest of the day in a fog. Sat on the couch flipping through old photos like they were pages from someone else's life. There was one from Christmas, the last one we spent together. She was wearing red, holding my arm, smiling for the camera. I remember that night. She kept checking her phone every 10 minutes and said it was work. It wasn't work. It was him. Or maybe one of the others. Later that night, I poured a drink, something I hadn't done in years, and stared into the dark. My mind kept going back to the look on her face. That half-apologetic, half-arrogant expression like she expected me to listen just because she'd shaved her head and cried a little. She wasn't sorry. She was desperate. Desperate for what, though? Redemption? Closure? Or worse, money? Because deep down, I knew Brittany never came back just to say sorry. She came back because she wanted something. And I was about to find out what. 2 days passed after the photo and the note. I didn't hear from her. No knocks on the door. No calls. Nothing. I figured maybe that was it, her final performance, curtain closed. Maybe she realized she couldn't manipulate me anymore and vanished back into whatever messy life she'd made without me. But I was wrong. It was Saturday morning, early. The kind of early where the sky's still gray and the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. I heard a knock. Soft at first. Then again. Louder. Reluctant. I opened the door. She was back. But this time, she wasn't alone. Next to her stood a little girl. Maybe 4 years old. Dark curly hair. Big brown eyes. She clutched Brittany's coat with both hands like she'd fall without it. My stomach dropped. This is Ava, Brittany said, her voice barely above a whisper. She's your daughter. Silence. I just stared. At Brittany. At the little girl. My brain short-circuited. My chest turned cold. I laughed, a dry, humorless sound. You show up after 5 years, confess to cheating with a guy my mom set you up with, and now you come back with a kid? She's yours, Brittany said. I got pregnant just before you left. I didn't even know until after you were gone. I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me so Ava wouldn't hear what I was about to say. I leaned close to Brittany, keeping my voice low but sharp. If that's true, why wait 5 years? Why now? She flinched, just slightly. Because I didn't know where you were. You disappeared. I had no way of contacting you. You could have gone to my job. My friends. A lawyer. She looked away. I thought you hated me too much to even care, she said. I took a step back and looked down at the girl. Ava. My daughter? She didn't look up. She just twisted the fabric of Brittany's coat in her small fingers, nervous, like she already knew something was wrong. I hated this. I hated how a single sentence, she's your daughter, could rip open every scar I'd spent years sealing shut. I didn't say anything for a full minute. Then finally, what do you want from me? I just want you to meet her, she said. To know her. And maybe help. There it was. The real reason. Money. Of course. My voice dropped an octave. So this is about child support now? No, she said too quickly. I mean, yes, I need help. But that's not why I came. She looked up at me, eyes wide, trying to summon that fake sincerity she used to wear like perfume. She deserves to know her father. I shook my head slowly. You destroyed every part of me. Burned the bridge, danced on the ashes. And now you think you can just walk back in because you brought a child with you? She's innocent, she whispered. I nodded. And you're not. I stepped back inside and closed the door. No yelling. No drama. Just quiet rage. Behind that door, I stood there, fist clenched, staring at the wood grain like it held answers. Was she telling the truth? Was Ava really mine? And if she was, what kind of father wouldn't want to know his daughter? But I also knew one thing for sure. Brittany hadn't come back for closure. She came back to use me again, just like before. Only this time, her weapon had big brown eyes and a name. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind played ping-pong between fury and confusion. Ava's face kept flashing in front of me, those curious brown eyes, that nervous little grip on Brittany's coat. I kept asking myself, what if she's telling the truth? What if that little girl is mine? But then the other side of me, bitter, hardened, untrusting, laughed in my face. Of course she says the kid's yours. That's her last play. What better way to tie herself back into your life than a child? Still, I couldn't ignore it. I needed clarity. Proof. I called Brittany the next morning. She picked up after the first ring. We need a DNA test, I said. No, hello. No small talk. I figured you'd say that, she replied. Her voice wasn't surprised. It wasn't hurt. It was calculated. Like she'd rehearsed it in front of a mirror. We can set it up, she continued. I'll even pay for it. That caught me off guard. Why? I asked. Because I'm not lying, Daniel, she said. Not about this. It was the first time in years she'd said my name out loud. It didn't feel warm or familiar. It felt like a trick, a poisoned apple in her hand. We set the appointment for that Friday. Neutral lab. No games. I met her in the parking lot. Ava was in the back seat, strapped into a booster, kicking her feet quietly. When I opened the door, she looked up at me and gave the tiniest smile. I nodded. No words. My chest felt like it was filled with cement. Inside the clinic, the nurse guided us through the process. Cheek swabs. Names on forms. Ava didn't cry or squirm. She just looked at me like I was a puzzle she hadn't solved yet. And the whole time, Brittany stood there like she was part of some courtroom drama. Calm. Silent. Too still. When it was done, I walked out first. Brittany caught up to me in the parking lot. You don't have to talk to me, she said quickly. But I need you to know something. I crossed my arms, jaw locked. What? I left Travis. 2 years ago. He got violent. He hurt me. I didn't respond. I didn't blink. I wasn't going to play therapist to the woman who shattered my life. I'm not asking for sympathy, she continued. I'm just trying to say I've changed. You don't get to say that, I snapped. You don't get to cheat on me, lie about it for years, vanish, and then waltz back in with a kid and tell me you've changed. Her eyes welled up. She doesn't even ask about a dad anymore. She just assumes everyone has one except her. I swallowed. That hit harder than I expected. She asks why she doesn't have one, she added. And I've run out of ways to lie. You're good at lying, I said coldly. I'm sure you'll think of something. Then I got in my truck and drove away. I didn't turn back, but my mind did. For the next 3 days, I waited for the result like a man on death row. Because either way, I was screwed. If Ava wasn't mine, I'd been used again, manipulated into caring. If she was mine, I had to make the hardest decision of my life, whether I could be a father to a child born of betrayal. Friday came. So did the call. She's yours, the nurse said. No fanfare. No hesitation. Just 3 words. 3 damn words that split my world wide open. I sat in silence for almost an hour after that call, just staring at the wall. No movement. No thoughts. Nothing but those 3 words ricocheting through my head like bullets. She's yours. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. But mostly, I wanted to rewind time. Go back to before I stepped into my parents' kitchen that day. Before I heard the conversation that shattered my life. Before Brittany. Before the betrayal. Before everything. But time doesn't care about your pain. It doesn't stop. It just keeps bleeding forward. Ava was mine. That little girl with big brown eyes was my flesh and blood. And suddenly, it wasn't about Brittany anymore. It wasn't about what she did or didn't do. It wasn't about the men, the lies, the humiliation. It was about a kid. My kid. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced the house like a caged animal, replaying every moment I'd seen Ava, how quiet she was, how she never asked questions, how she looked at me with that shy curiosity. She didn't know who I was, but I had a feeling she felt something. I picked up the phone a dozen times to call Brittany. Every time I hovered my thumb over her number, I felt sick. I hated that the path to my daughter ran through the woman who'd wrecked me, but I had to make a choice. So I texted her instead. I want to see Ava. Just her. No you. The typing bubbles appeared within seconds, then disappeared, then reappeared. Finally, okay. Sunday, noon. The park by 9th and Bell. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Sunday came fast. I stood under the big oak tree by the playground, heart pounding like a damn war drum. It had been years since I'd felt this nervous. I'd stared down business meetings, legal negotiations, even a car wreck once, and none of them shook me like this. Then I saw her. Ava. She was walking beside Brittany, holding a little pink stuffed bunny in her hand. When she saw me, she stopped. Brittany said something to her. Ava nodded. Then she walked, alone, up to me. Hi, she said, her voice soft. I knelt down. Hey, Ava. She looked at the ground, then at me. Are you really my dad? I wasn't ready for the weight in that question. The innocence. The hope. I nodded. Yeah, kiddo. I am. She smiled. A real one. It cracked my heart wide open. She sat beside me on the bench, legs swinging. We talked. About cartoons. Her favorite cereal. A turtle she saw once at the zoo. She didn't ask why I hadn't been there. She didn't cry. She just existed beside me like we'd done this every weekend for years. It broke me. After an hour, Brittany came back. She kept her distance but gave me a look, one of those, we need to talk stares. I stood, kissed Ava on the head, and whispered, I'll see you soon. As Brittany walked toward us, I held up my hand. Don't. Not now. She stopped mid-step. Nodded. I walked away without looking back. That night, I lay awake thinking about that tiny smile. The way she held that bunny. The way she looked at me with pure, unfiltered trust. Ava was innocent. She didn't deserve to be dragged through the ashes of what Brittany and my mother had done. But if I wanted to be in her life, I'd have to find a way to stand beside the very woman who once destroyed me. And that terrified me more than anything. Over the next 2 weeks, I saw Ava 3 more times. Park visits. Ice cream runs. She loved the swing set, hated bugs, and insisted that carrots tasted like punishment. Every minute I spent with her was both healing and tormenting, because every smile she gave me reminded me of all the years I'd lost. I missed her first steps, her first words, her first everything. And the woman responsible for that, the same woman who once whispered someone else's name while still wearing my ring, was now the gatekeeper to my daughter. It was a trap I couldn't walk around. I had to walk through it. Then came the day Brittany asked to talk in private. I met her at a diner near the edge of town. Neutral ground. Public. No chance of fireworks, at least, that's what I told myself. She showed up looking soft, not glamorous, not manipulative, just tired. I appreciate you seeing Ava, she started as we sat. Cut to it, I said. You didn't ask me here to thank me. She inhaled slowly. I'm in trouble? Of course. I stirred my coffee without looking at her. Financial. She nodded. I lost my job 3 months ago. Medical bills. Rent. I've been trying to stay afloat for Ava, but I'm drowning. I clenched my jaw. You waited until after the DNA test to say any of this. I had to. You wouldn't have believed me otherwise. She was right. But that didn't make it easier to swallow. I'm not asking for a blank check, she added quickly. Just a little help. For Ava. I studied her. Every twitch. Every blink. She wasn't crying. That was new. She looked defeated. And it didn't feel like an act. Still, I'd be a fool not to ask, is this about Ava? Or are you trying to dig your claws into me again? Her eyes flared for a moment, then dimmed. I don't blame you for asking that, she said quietly. You have every right to think the worst of me. I was the worst. No argument there. Then say it, I challenged. Say what you did. She didn't flinch. I cheated on you. Multiple times. I laughed about it with your mother. I let you break yourself for our marriage while I entertained other men behind your back. She exhaled, like the words were poison she needed to spit out. I was cruel, ungrateful, vain. And when you vanished, I told myself you deserved it for walking away without giving me a chance to explain. She looked at me with eyes stripped of pretense. But you were right to leave. I didn't speak. I just listened. And for the first time, I didn't feel rage. I felt exhaustion. Like every ounce of hate I'd carried for her had burned up, leaving only this bitter, cold ash behind. What do you want from me now? I asked. Not forgiveness, she said. I'm not that naive. Just help. For her. Not for me. I nodded slowly. I'll help Ava. But you and I, we're done. There is no us. There never will be again. I know, she whispered. I stood, pulled a folded envelope from my coat, and dropped it on the table. 3 months support. For her. Use it wisely. She nodded, didn't touch it until I walked out the door. I got in my truck, stared at the wheel for a long minute. Being close to Brittany again felt like sleeping next to a fire. Too far, and I'd freeze. Too close, and I'd burn. But Ava? She was worth every risk. And for her, I'd keep one hand near the flames. Life didn't magically get easier after that diner meeting. If anything, it got messier. I had to learn how to be a father to a kid who didn't really know me, all while trying to keep her mother at arm's length, a mother who, despite everything, still lived in the orbit of my every decision now. But I kept my word. I supported Ava. I called. I visited. I listened when she talked about her nightmares and her favorite cartoons, and I smiled through the ache when she asked, "Why did it take you so long to find me?" I never blamed her. I never could. She was the only piece of my past that was pure. But the storm was far from over. It came crashing in one Thursday afternoon when I received a letter, an official one. Custody court summons. Filed by Brittany. I nearly crushed the paper in my hands. She wanted full custody. I called her the moment I could form words. What the hell is this? I'm not trying to take her from you, she replied. The state needs paperwork. Legal structure. You have no parental rights on record. You could have told me before dropping a bomb in my mailbox. I didn't want another fight, she said. I thought you'd assume the worst. I was trying to protect Ava's stability. My laugh was hollow. You think I'm worried about fights? I've been to war with myself since the day I found out what you did. The court date was set for 2 weeks later. I hired a lawyer, gathered documents, messages, evidence of support, character references. My entire life was suddenly a legal chessboard. But the kicker came 3 days before the hearing, a message from my lawyer. You need to see this. He forwarded me screenshots. Brittany, texting someone named Caleb. If he pushes for custody, I'll say he threatened me. He has rage issues. It'll be easy. I just want this wrapped up fast. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Rage issues? Me? The man who walked away from betrayal instead of burning their lives to the ground? I felt something dark pulse in my chest, not just anger, but disbelief. After everything, she was still lying, still manipulating. She was ready to drag me into court and play victim to keep control. But this time, I had proof. I printed everything, delivered it to my lawyer, sat through that courtroom session with my jaw locked and my pulse steady. When the judge asked about the text messages, my lawyer slid them across the table like a pair of loaded dice. Brittany went pale. She tried to deny it, said they were faked. But the timestamps matched, and Caleb, whoever the hell he was, confirmed their authenticity when subpoenaed. The judge stared at her like she was something he scraped off his shoe. Temporary joint custody was granted to me, with a motion to pursue full rights pending further investigation. Outside the courtroom, Brittany followed me to the parking lot. You think you won? She hissed. No, I said, unlocking my truck. I think Ava did. You're no saint, Daniel. You abandoned her. I abandoned you, I snapped. You made sure Ava never knew I existed. You built this lie and set it on fire. I'm just the one pulling her out of the smoke. She stared at me, stunned. I hope someday, I said, Ava sees you for what you are. And I hope I've given her enough love to survive that day. I got in and drove away, letting the past collapse behind me like a building finally giving in. Brittany was fire. Deceptive. Dangerous. Beautiful from a distance, lethal up close. But I wasn't burned anymore. I was done being the ashes. Now, I was something else entirely, something stronger. For Ava, I had to be.